Welcome to Match Day Live. Thank you so much for joining us today as City take on West Ham at the London Stadium. It is a 2 p.m. kickoff today, and there you can see Pep has arrived. The team have arrived. I am eagerly keeping my eyes peeled to see who is getting off the coach today. Now, West Ham are winless in 12 Premier League games against City, drawing 2 and losing 10 of them since a 2-1 win at the Etihad back in 2015. Now, City have become the first team in English top flight history to win 5 consecutive league games by a margin of at least 3 goals. Victory here will leave us within a point of winning our 8th top flight title, 6 in the Premier Leagues and 4 in the last 5 seasons. I will have the team news for you very, very shortly. Welcome to Matchday Live. My name is Natalie Pike, and I am joined today for the game against West Ham by 2 legends who have played both for West Ham and Manchester City. It is Trevor Sinclair and David James. Now, before I chat to the guests today, we are going to get to the all-important team news. So, here we go. So I can tell you that there are 3 changes to the team that beat Wolves in midweek. Your starting 11 is Edison, Cancelo, and then you can see Fernandinho, who's captain, and Aymeric Laporte both start. Both have recovered from those knocks that they picked up midweek. And then it is Zinchenko, Rodri, Silva, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Grealish, and Jesus. So that is your starting 11. On the subs bench today is Stefan, Ake, Sterling, Gundogan, Foden, Egan Riley, Mbete, Palmer and Lavia. So 3 changes to the team that beat Wolves midweek. Now, we were expecting some changes today, but gents, I feel like we were perhaps expecting some changes in defence. But Fernandinho and Aymeric Laporte have come through. How pleased are you?
Yeah, really good news. I think we were concerned about the defence, especially the centre of defence, and the fact that Laporte is fit to start the game. I think that's a massive boost for the lads. And then we've seen Fernandinho play there many times. I think he's a good operator in that area. It's similar, a lot of similarities between holding midfielder and centre half anyway. But depending on what the West Ham team is, he could have his hands full, and they'll need to communicate really well to make sure that they keep West Ham out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk this week since the Wolves game about our defence, David, obviously with some of those injuries that have been picked up. We, of course, we're without Walker, Stones and Diaz till the end of the season. Ake is on the bench again, but how pleased are you to see that we've kept the same back 4 that won midweek?
Of course, the same back 4 is good defensively, but I think, like many City fans, the one name on that starting lineup is that guy there, KDB. Because if he plays anything like he did the other day, then the defence won't be tested too much.
Yeah, I mean, how incredible. What were you thinking when you were watching the game midweek?
Oh, I was on social media. I think I said stop it at one point, because what I was watching was an incredible performance by an incredible player. And quite often people talk about his brilliance, but I think in this performance, we just saw everything. Absolutely everything. It was masterful. I can't even think of any better words.
Yeah, it was a masterclass, wasn't it, Trev?
Great midfield performance, box to box. Didn't have to do too much defending because we obviously controlled the ball. But you know, you see his goals, and we talk about, you know, he's got unbelievable skill sets and he's like an artist. But a lot of that's down to hard work. You know, you see him running off the ball there, getting into areas. You've got to get into the areas where you're going to get opportunities, and that's what he does so well. And a lot of his goals I thought were quite unselfish, because he was playing the ball forward and then just following it in. And the midfielders that were marking him couldn't live with his energy, couldn't live with his intensity. And when he got in them positions, he was clinical, all on his right foot, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was such a brilliant team performance as well. Obviously, with the 4 goals from Kevin De Bruyne, you know, we're seeing he's just unbelievable. What an unbelievable performance! But it was also a great team performance as well, and we don't want that to have overshadowed how well everybody else did as well, David.
No, exactly. I think one thing that you have to appreciate is that Wolves hadn't conceded more than 3 goals in the Premier League up until that game. And at half an hour, I think it was 3-1, or whatever the score was at half an hour. And I was thinking, this could be the game. And people might say this is the end of the season, Wolves had like little to play for. But when you've got that instilled in that Wolves team, for Man City's team to be able to dismantle and score 5 goals. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne was the icing on the cake, of course, but as I said, everyone chipped in. and it was a wonderful team performance.
And even though they conceded 5 goals, they've still got the 4th best defensive record in the league. So you look at what we've actually achieved, the players have achieved during that game. It's quite an immense performance, especially after playing against Newcastle and on the back of the disappointment from Real Madrid. I think the players' reaction from that has been absolutely outstanding.
Sure.
The players, the coaching staff, Pep, they all deserve a lot of credit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And considering we scored 5 goals, obviously, in that game, we have made 3 changes up front. What do you make of those for today?
Typical. Because, we were talking off air, me and David, and it's one of them where a lot of people talk about Grealish has not played a lot of football. Most of that front 5 or 6 players have played about 20-odd games each. They've started about 20-odd games each. So I think when we were talking, it's easier to defend and to restrict teams. But to create, it's much more difficult, and I think that's where you need to freshen it up, and that's exactly what Pep's done. He's brought in 3 new forwards, Mahrez, Jesus and Grealish. Listen, do as well as they've done last week against Wolves. Be creative, create opportunities, work the opposition's defence.
We see Grealish there, Trev, starting that move.
Exactly. I mean, it's not been, I think, from a numbers perspective, it's not been what we would have expected from Grealish. But when you look at the performances and the way that he's picked up the style of play which Pep demands from all his players, I think he's getting it. His performances are starting to become more consistent, and he's starting to look like more and more like a Manchester City player.
Yeah, I think if you haven't watched City all season, and exactly like Trev says, if you're just looking at the statistics, you might question it. But if you've watched his performances all season, David, I mean, especially in the last few games, I think he's been brilliant. Absolutely,
yeah. What's interesting again, I mean, just to sort of follow up on what Trev said, Jack has played the normal amount of games for these attackers. The only exceptions for that, or the only exception, should I say, is Bernardo Silva, who's played 30-plus games. And Rodri, who's played 30-plus games. So any attacking player knows they're part of a rotating squad. As like Trev says, you want to keep the freshness. We all know that Pep's not the most freewheeling with his substitutes. So if you're on the field to start, there's a good chance you'll be there at the end. So the numbers are great for Man City, and people talk about these. Jack, it really frustrates me. It's like Jack Grealish hasn't done. Man City are going to win the Premier League, and Jack has had a big impact and effect on Man City winning the Premier League. So, and
his impact in the Champions League when he came on against Real Madrid.
With regards to
was so close to being the match winner. The chances that he had and cleared off the line, unbelievable save by Courtois with his studs. That's how close he was to people all of a sudden starting talking positively about himself. He's doing it. It's just not happened for him to certain extents, especially with the numbers. But in general, I think he's been very good.
Well, he has another opportunity today because he starts in today's game against West Ham. And as I mentioned, both Trevor and David obviously played for West Ham before they joined City. A man that joined West Ham after playing for City is, of course, Pablo Zabaleta. We had the pleasure of spending the evening with him on Friday at the 93-20 celebration event. And RLs asked him what he thought ahead of today's game.
Oh, Pablo Zabaleta! Here we are with the man himself, the legend that is Mr. Pablo Zabaleta. What a pleasure. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. And moving forward now to our present team, they've got a game against your former team, West Ham.
Yeah, Sunday.
How tough an opponent do you think?
West Ham doing well this season.
Very well.
Doing well. It's not going to be easy, of course. It's a memorable final game for West Ham, so it could be something emotional moment for them as well. But if you look at the team, how they've been playing last 2 games against Newcastle and Wolverhampton, I'm sure that they will get the 3 points. It's good to see the lads how they responded, mentally after the Real Madrid defeat, because it was really hard for everyone, for sure. But great to see the fans when they went to Newcastle game and they showed really, big support right behind the team. That's something that's made this club special, and that's why hopefully, they can win the next game, and then with Aston Villa that we have a chance again to hopefully win it and celebrate the Premier League, which is something amazing. 4 Premier League out of 5 years is huge. We need to give a lot of credit to the players, to Pep, to everyone. That is amazing. So let's go London first on Sunday, put in a good performance, beat West Ham, and then see what we can do last game of the season.
Plus 71 for us.
So that was the thoughts of Pablo Zabaleta from the 93-20 celebration event on Friday night. We have loads of connections with West Ham, it seems. Going back to today's team news, Trevor, I'm interested, how do you think Bernardo Silva's going to play, or where do you think? Because he was a bit more forward, a bit more central, but obviously with the changes that have been made, no Gundogan Day, do you envision dropping back a bit?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to be in that midfield three. But he will, I mean, all the players under Pep, and he demands this of them, they rotate. So if Bernardo ends up being in a forward position, one of the forwards will have to fill in for him. And then they'll get that shape. Obviously, they try to counter-press if they lose the ball in higher up the pitch anyway. And, yeah, I'm sure that if he does get caught forward, someone will fill in for him. But he will start as a midfield player.
It's his 250 appearance for City today, David.
250?
250 already.
Wow.
It's mad, isn't it? And you mentioned how many games he plays, and we talk on this show about how much he runs as well. He's just an integral part of this team, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 250?
250, no. I know.
That's
I remember the Monaco game when he came here with Monaco, and like the performance he put on there, straight away I thought, looks like a Pep player. Next minute he's signing for us, and 250 games
I was watching him in
then.
the under-21, in the under-21 Euros, thinking this lad's pretty decent. Yeah, 250. Yeah, like, I mean, he gives everything, absolutely everything. I mean, it's interesting when you talk about individual players, and I think Jack, because he's come this season, by next season he'll be so immersed in being a Man City player like Bernardo Silva, because he came as Bernardo Silva, now he's part of Man City. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what I love watching about Bernardo Silva? It's when someone's following him and he just swings his hips and you can see the person behind him like a out-of-control caravan. Yeah, what a player.
Yeah, I love him. I feel like he just gets us as well. He gets the club.
What an analogy, by the way.
Yeah,
Out-of-control caravan, that's brilliant.
So in terms of away form, ours is incredible this year. Obviously, we got beaten by Spurs on the first day of the season, but we're unbeaten since then. I've got a stat for you. You know I love a stat. So far, we have a tally of 45 away points. Obviously, we've got today's game as well. That is the fourth highest in Premier League history, after Arsenal in 2001-2, Chelsea in 04-05, who got 48, and then our own record in 17-18, which was 50. So we've got today's game. If we won today, it would be the second highest in Premier League history, only against our own record.
Wow.
I'll give you a stat.
Okay.
That 04-05 season, Chelsea didn't get any points at the Etihad. Beaten 1-0.
There you go, that's not a bad...
Their only
Didn't get any at the
defeat,
Etihad
their only
this season
defeat
either.
of the season, by the way. Yeah.
What is it about our away form, though, Trev?
I just think we dominate possession. Teams at home want to get forward. They want to get the home fans behind them. They want to be on the front foot, and we don't allow teams to do that. And by keeping the ball, by frustrating them, and I think at times they probably play a little bit too offensive against Manchester City as a home side. Whereas you almost need to play against Manchester City like an away side. And I think obviously the boys travel well. The preparation's obviously spot on. I think the rotation with the squad. And you talk about Pep and certain players coming in at certain positions. And Haaland's coming in the summer, we all know that. But apart from Haaland, all the players who play in them front lines can play anywhere. They can play right, they can play left, they can even play in midfield. I've seen Foden do that at times. So I think the rotation in the playing staff makes it very difficult for the opposition managers to anticipate what team they're going to face.
I love the fact that we're essentially playing with like 8 midfielders in this team. It's brilliant. They're just covering...
Very Barca-like, isn't it? When he was
yeah.
when Pep was at Barca, there was a lot of midfield players there. They didn't often play with a striker.
Lovely, thank you so much. So, as always, you have the opportunity to ask our guests a question if you'd like to pick their brains on anything football whatsoever, today's game, tactics, their career, anything that you would like to ask them. Use that WhatsApp number that is on your screen now, and I will do my best to get through some questions. Now, it is time to play Who's Stat? Of course, this is our game where you have to guess the former or current Manchester City player. We give you 3 clues throughout the show. Here is your first clue. So, this player netted 38 goals in 187 appearances for the Hammers and has over 860 total appearances in the Premier League. So this is a former or current Manchester City player, but that is your clue 1. Intense thinking here from you two. What do you think?
I'm clueless.
You're clueless. It's not you then. Did you get that many goals?
No.
Okay, it's not you.
No,
it's not you either,
not
David.
Me. It's not David. It's definitely not us.
Well, we've ruled 2 former players out.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
8, that's a lot of games, by the way.
I think I know it. I think I know it. Are you having it?
Wow, hang on a minute.
Right, we stumped David.
I'll see it again.
You'll get it. You'll get a clue too in a minute. We've stumped David. Do let us know if you think you know who's stat today. Right, now it's time to get the West Ham team news. So the West Ham starting 11 today. In goal it is Fabianski, and then it's Kufal, Zuma, Dawson and Cresswell. It is Rice, who's the captain, Souček, Bowen, Lanzini, Fornals and Antonio. So that is the West Ham starting 11 today. And then it is Areola, Masuaku, Johnson, Fredericks, Kral, Noble, Vlasic, Yamalenko, Ofelex. That is the West Ham team for today. So, gents, looking at that West Ham team, immediately, obviously, I'm drawn to Antonio, as you generally are in that team. How do you think he's going to fare today?
Well, he'll be rubbing his hands together because he knows that he's got an ageing holding midfielder playing as a centre half. So, if I'm playing centre forward, I try and pull on to Fernandinho all the time, isolate him and get him 1-against-1. So I'm sure that's what they'll be trying to do. That's West Ham's strongest lineup, apart from maybe Ben Johnson at right back. Soufal, Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson was playing very well for West Ham. Come out of the side and Soufal's kept his position, but there's no sentiment. You know, Mark Noble, it's his last game at home at the London Stadium, and David Moyes, he's been professional, he's taking this game seriously. They need the points to try and supersede Manchester United and get that 6th spot in the league, and they're taking it serious, and yeah, we'll have to earn this today.
Well, we hope that they manage to do it by winning next week.
Correct.
Obviously. David, some West Ham stats for you. They've scored in all of their 18 Premier League home games, or must be 17 of their Premier League home games this season. Only twice have they managed to score in 100% of their home games, but you've got to go back far for that. So when it comes to being at home, they score goals?
Yes, hence the reason they're in a position to qualify for Europa League. I mean, let's be right, they've had a fantastic season. Mikel Antonio, in a similar way to we were talking about Jack Grealish, hasn't necessarily been the focal point for that, but he's been heavily involved in a lot of that. So what David Moyes has got there is great. Looking at that lineup, the one player that I'm concerned about, I love Matey behind you, I have to say that, but Lanzini, who at the moment is in, I think, very good form. Where Trevor's talking about Antonio getting onto Fernandinho, Lanzini's probing runs if there's an issue there that Man City have problems with dealing with, then he's going to take advantage. But yeah, I'm just thinking about Ederson. He's on the Golden Gloves with Alisson, so he wants to keep a clean sheet.
Okay.
There's loads of things going on at the end of the season, you know.
Do you think he's going to keep a clean sheet?
Of course, because it's Ederson.
Yeah, so he's on 20 clean sheets, same as Alisson we were looking at, weren't we? And there's obviously 2 games to go left for both of them. Now, you pointed there to the picture of Jared Bowen behind us, Trevor. He's had a phenomenal season.
Brilliant season. Goals, assists. I think his work rate off the ball. He's just improved. I mean, you've got to give credit to David Moyes, the way that he's managed him, the way that he's improved him. I think if it wasn't for the Achilles injury that he picked up maybe a couple of months ago, he would have been in the England squad. I think he's earned the right to be in that squad. And for a player that's come from Hull in the Championship to have the impact that he's had on the Premier League, you have to be giving kudos. And, you know, he does the basics really well. He runs with the ball, he scores goals, he's sharp as a tack there. You know, as soon as the ball goes dead, he comes alive. But he's just improved in all aspects of his game, and real joy to watch.
Yeah, he's got, like you say, he's got a phenomenal story. I find where he's come from to where he is now so absolutely fascinating. But he's part of that sort of really great midfield that they've had this season. Obviously, Declan Rice being linked with everybody going in the world, David. Is he as good as everybody is saying?
He's not. He's staying at West Ham. He's a West Ham boy. Yeah, I mean, he's different. When I say different, considering his size and how nimble he is. Fantastic. I mean, passing the ball, arguably when it comes to midfield, there's certain characteristics you have to be very good at. But defensively, reading the game, communication, I mean, there's stuff that you can see him doing which isn't necessarily just passing ball. He can shoot from time to time as well. wonderful player. But I think, like we were saying before, what David Moyes has created is an environment where this West Ham side are, I wouldn't say punching above their weight, but they are potentially, for the first time in Premier League, finishing top 7 2 seasons in a row. It's never happened before. So there's a bit of consistency there as well. Interesting you're saying the stats there, and West Ham not beating Man City, but every game's been tight. Well, the last few have, and I was at don't want to bring it up, the League Cup game, but that was another tight affair at London Stadium. So 5 goals in consecutive away games is going to be a big stretch today. But then, going back to what Trev said, I think if Man City 5-0 up, we might see, what's his name? Mark Noble coming up.
Yeah, because of course it is Mark Noble's last home game at West Ham today. He starts on the bench, but he's just been a phenomenal, ever-present player in that squad. And you were saying that he was there when you were there, Trev.
Yeah, as a 15, 16-year-old, he used to come in and train with the first team. And we was blessed when we was at West Ham because we had players like Rio, Frank, Michael Carrick, Joe Cole, Jermaine Defoe. There were so many good players that came from the academy into the first team squad. And Mark was no different. You could sense that, he was humble, kept his head down, but as soon as the ball came out, you realise what quality he had. He's a class act. He's been an absolute superb servant for the football club. I've had a little bit to do with him at times, and he's a credit to his family, obviously, but what he's done for West Ham, being a one-club man, I hope they do keep him involved, whether it's in the directors or whether it's in the coaching staff or whatever, but because he does bleed claret and blue. He literally loves the club, and he's had a fantastic. I think he's unlucky not to get an England cap because some of the football that he has played, he probably deserved to be in that squad at some stage, but he just never ever got that opportunity. But he has been a great player.
There is one caveat.
Oh, here we go.
He invited us to play in his testimonial match at Upton Park against Effa. We got smashed. No.
The game went. We started really well. Di Canio was playing. There was all the ex-players, and I think we went 1-0 up. And then they got annoyed, and then we got smashed.
What was the teams? What were you former players?
Yeah, former players versus their places.
Against the current players? Oh, come on.
I know, I remember Lanzini, he nutmegged me, and as he went past me, he started to chuckle, and I was like, you naughty boy.
You mentioned Di Canio there. I had a Jared Bowen stat to share with you. So he's only the second West Ham player after Di Canio to get 10 goals and 10 assists in a Premier League season. Wow. So following the footsteps of Di Canio there, that's a fairly phenomenal stat. But in terms of Noble, he's on the bench. If he does come on, David, towards the end of the game, and you'd think they'll be hoping to bring him on so that he gets that reception. How much is that going to lift the crowd at the end, sort of, if we're guessing it might be towards the end of the game?
Well, I'm like Trevor on here, because of what everyone is playing for in this match, obviously Man City to win the title and West Ham to get into the Europa League. The sentiment has to take a back seat, and Mark Noble's appearance is either, well, put it this way, the game is going to have to have been dealt with by the time Mark Noble comes on, unless there's an injury. Yeah. And I love Mark, I genuinely do, but I think the fact that he's retiring and the fact that Man City are very good, that they can't afford to have any kind of weakness in that midfield. So.
And just talking about their midfield as well, Souček and Rice, we mentioned Rice earlier. They work so well in tandem, dovetail each other. When one goes forward, the other one sits in. And I said this probably towards the start of the season. I said, because there was rumours that Declan could be coming to Manchester, but not to Manchester City. And I said, the 2 players that are playing for West Ham are almost as good as it gets regarding holding midfielders because they dovetail so well together. So it's certainly a threat. We know Souček in the air is a threat from set pieces. Rice obviously using the ball, working, running, moving with the ball is very good. So yeah, both good players, but Mark Noble hasn't got that kind of mobility anymore, and that's why what Jamo was saying there, he's not really going to be coming on unless the game's already dealt with.
There is one thing though. For the West Ham fans, I think they would still want to see Mark Noble on that pitch at some point tonight.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Now, of course, it is a busy day down in London for City today. The men taking on West Ham. And the women are, of course, in the FA Cup final at Wembley against Chelsea. We've got Abby and Caroline, who are pitch side with Esme Morgan, to give us some team news.
Yes, hello from here at Wembley. We have got our women's team news in for today's FA Cup final, so I'll talk you through that now. So in goal, we've got Ellie Roebuck. In defence, Lucy Bronze, Alana Kennedy, Alex Greenwood, who's our captain today, Demi Stokes. We've got Kira Walsh in that holding midfield role. Georgia Stanway, Caroline Weir, Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp, and then up front we've got Bunny Shaw. Now just quickly looking at the subs as well, we've got Keating, Blackstad, Park, White, Angeldahl, Coombs, Mace, Lasada and Hayley Brasso. So a lot to take in there. Does it make sense to start in goal, taking a look at Ellie today? Brilliant to see her, obviously, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's come as a surprise that the team's upturning fortunes has sort of happened since she's come back between the sticks. So composed, great distribution, and obviously a fantastic shot stopper as well. So I think she, it's been key that she's come back into the squad.
She's going to be busy today as well, isn't she?
I hope not, but realistically, yeah, she probably will. But she's the coolest person that I know. She's so calm, and she'll be very focused today. She knows what she's got to do.
And we're not going to even talk about penalties because it's not going to go to them. So we're just going to gloss on. I also just wanted to talk about Demi Stokes. It is so special for her to start today, isn't it? Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so her partner Katie gave birth to a baby boy, and it's been announced this weekend. So yeah, how exciting, and a great story to tell for him in the future, to say, well, a matter of days after you were born, here we were at Wembley, hopefully lifting the trophy. So yeah, not bad at all, and congratulations.
Few days old, mum's playing at Wembley, off you go.
Standard.
And just before we look at the rest of the team news, we have got a special guest with us, Esme Morgan. Please come join, make me and Caroline look very short, as always. Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks. I'm so excited.
Just before we start looking at team news, have you had your all-important pre-match Nando's?
Right, no I haven't, but my mum and dad have been on the Nando's trip, so hopefully the Morgan power will carry through from them.
Thank goodness for that. Right, now looking at the team, so Caroline and I've been talking a little bit. Caroline, do you want to take it away with, we're looking at Lauren Hemp, who we know is obviously one of your besties, and Bunny Shaw as well.
Yeah, well, they're going for top scorer, so I was interested to know whether that's been a bit of conversation in the last week or so.
Not that I'm aware of. What's the difference between them?
Just the one.
One goal.
Just
Who's got more?
Lauren.
Okay, well, me and Lauren have got a few little challenges on today if she scores, like a couple of celebrations planned, so I'm hoping Lauren does score so we can see some of those come to fruition. But I also hope Bunny has a great day as well. Maybe they'll finish up tied. That'd be the perfect day for everyone. If like Lauren gets 2, Bunny gets a hat-trick, that'd be nice.
Not many goals then. And what's this what's the celebration? What celebration we got?
I can't tell you so
secrets.
far. It's also dependent on the state of the game and things like that, so there's a lot of factors to consider.
She's also, I don't know how many goals Lauren's going to be scoring today, but she's also promised Caroline a celebration because it's Caroline's last game as well today.
She has. I'm told that she's going to run up to the press box and give it the whole.
She's going to run up through the crowd during
I think she'll
the game.
probably just come to the line.
I see. Okay, the
So
two could work. They could tie in quite
she's
well.
obviously
actually.
very confident, and more power to her.
Yeah, she's got us a lot of points over the season and come up with some very important goals, so hopefully today will be no different.
And in terms of this morning, what's the mood been like? How was yesterday, the travel down?
Everyone seems really relaxed and confident. I think a lot of the time it's sort of overhyped, people being in the zone and stuff, but I think it's better when everyone's at ease and feeling positive and looking forward to the game, and that's been the vibe that I've been getting. Everyone seems really excited and giddy for the occasion, and hopefully to win another trophy this year.
Fantastic.
Hopefully so, and we'll be seeing you here down for celebrations in a few hours. Absolutely, the confidence is radiating here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hyping each other up now. We're going to get a bit overexcited in a minute, aren't we?
thank you so much, Esme. Thank you, Caroline, and back to you guys.
Thanks so much there to Caroline and Abe with Esme Morgan. Now, on Friday night, there was an incredible event that took place in Manchester as we celebrated the 10-year anniversary of 93-20. I was so lucky to be there hosting the event. You can see there 2,000 City fans, and we welcomed some of the team from that day onto stage, and we all got to re-watch the moment with them all. If you haven't seen it yet, here it is. There is Sergio Aguero celebrating, watching his goal back. Had you seen this yet, Trev?
I've seen little clips of it, but I'm just looking at the reaction there from the boys. I mean, it was an incredible moment, wasn't it? Probably the most incredible moment of Premier League history, and to see the club and the fans and the players that were involved and Sergio himself celebrating it together. absolutely superb.
It was absolutely electric. Like, the atmosphere was unreal. He took his jumper off, he chucked it into the crowd, David. A grown man on the front row grabbed it, and I swear he was crying, and it was just Sergio Aguero's jumper.
Yeah. Did he keep it?
Yeah, he kept it. So I saw Sergio later in just that T-shirt.
Just he's got it tight on like that.
Yeah, but yes, it was an absolutely incredible event. We were so lucky to be able to share that moment with them all, watching that moment back with them all. And also, do you know who was even luckier? Kel Spellman and RL's got to chat to Sergio before the event.
Well, we could not be having the celebration we're having today. We could not have enjoyed the last decade of football we've seen at Manchester City without this man stood next to me. It is an honour and a privilege to say hello to Sergio Aguero. Hello, sir. How's the day been for you today?
Hi, everyone. So, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm very happy to be here after 10 years. So I can see again to the fans, my teammates. So I'm happy because I'm enjoying this moment, no?
We started the day with unveiling your new statue outside of the Etihad. What does that mean to you to see that?
Yeah, for me, it's so. I'm very proud, you know, because the status to be outside the stadium is amazing. It's amazing for me, for my family, friends, but also for the Manchester City fans, because now the people, and then the kids also, maybe the kids, they don't know who I am, but when see the status, say, he's Sergio Aguero. So for me, it's a great honor, no?
I always wondered, in the QPR game, did you always know you were going to score, or did you think we've lost this?
Yeah, that moment was fantastic. So always I thought what's happening if don't win the league, you know. So, but for me it was the best moment in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big moment. And some people have said it's the greatest moment in Premier League history. I mean, do you agree? Did you know it at the time when it was happening? How big it was?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't know if it happen again, you know. So that is for the club, for me, for my teammates also. Will be in the story. So that is so good. I think it's the best moment in the Premier League. Sure.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, for the fans, I mean, we're broadcasting to our fans around the world, and I know you speak a lot about your love for City, but what has City meant to you over the 10 years you were here?
No, for me, play here 10 years, so it's very happy, because it's not easy to play many years. And just say thanks to the fans, because always support to me all games. Just I want to say thank you so much, and I'm sure it's my hardest to be here in Manchester.
I've been a lifelong fan, and I think I speak for all fans when I have to say to you, thank you, Sergio. You changed the club's history, so thank you.
Yes, thank you to Sergio Aguero. And after 11 long years of waiting, I finally got a picture with him. I finally got to meet him. I was in absolute fan mode. As I'm sure you all would have been, you understand what I am saying. Now, as part of the celebrations, we also unveiled a statue of Sergio outside the stadium. An absolutely beautiful statue, obviously, that goes alongside Vincent Kompany and David Silva's statues as well. There is a new City Studios documentary all about the statues. I can't wait to watch it. Here's a little teaser for you.
They really were giants of this club.
You can't imagine that we would be where we are today without those three players.
They weren't just defining games, they were defining seasons. City are ahead in the FA Cup final, and it's David Silva.
Aguero, and still Sergio Aguero. That's brilliant!
Oh, resounding header. Manchester City's leader on the pitch, setting the example.
We need statues for these players.
A real honour to be selected to do the sculptures for Manchester City Football Club.
Moments like that happen once. Not even once in a lifetime, they happen once, and Aguero did that.
Their stories about loyalty from the player, but also about the player to the club.
The top players do it consistent for 10 years.
I think these three guys, legends, they were really good on the field, but also they took the club to another level.
A legend is somebody who achieves something year after year, game after game, sometimes decade after decade, and they're the players that deserve statues.
I'm proud of what we did together, and I feel emotional that it's being recognized like this.
You never have a time to look back at something you've achieved. And for the very first time, I can look back and say, hey, it was cool.
Always I say that my heart will be in Manchester City forever.
There's no better way, in my view, than a statue to keep it there for the record, for history, and for the next generations.
My goodness, anybody else get super emotional watching that back and seeing the three of them talk? So, of course, all those statues are outside the Etihad. Have a look at them the next time that you are here. They're absolutely beautiful. So we're going to have clue 2 now on whose stat. Did you get it from the first one? Have you got an idea? This is a current or former Manchester City player. So your clue 1 was this player netted 38 goals in 187 appearances for the Hammers and has over 860 total appearances in the Premier League. Clue 2, gents. You're going to get it. You're going to get it.
I've got it already.
You've got it, Trev.
Before clue 2.
Okay. This player played 106 matches for the England national team after making his debut in '99. 106 matches for England. Okay, wow. Trevor?
I've got it. You've got to have that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Got it.
I've got another. Do you want an extra clue? He played in 3 World Cups for England. 3 World Cups.
Yeah, got it.
And he was in the 2004 team of the tournament. You're going to kick yourself. I know who it is.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know who it is.
Okay, I believe you. Okay, we're going to go back down to Wembley now, where we have grabbed our manager, Gareth Taylor, for a quick chat.
Here we are with Gareth Taylor. Gareth, FA Cup final day. What an incredible occasion this is.
Yeah, amazing. Great to see already supporters in the stadium. Completely different feelings to what we had last time, and amazing for everyone who's involved.
And so you've opted for the suit again today?
Well, a little bit smarter, yeah. Wembley finals, it's always nice and something to remember and have to do your bit as well.
And the fans are starting to fill into the stadium here. What a difference it makes from the last time we were here.
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, I mean, amazing. The previous time any Wembley final is class to be involved in, but I think obviously having our supporters here, our wonderful supporters, our family and friends is something to remember for sure.
And what's the feeling in the dressing room like at the moment?
Yeah, good. We've had a good week of training. The players are pretty calm, and I think that's what it needs to be is try and normalise things as much as it's hard to normalise this kind of occasion, and go out and play our game.
And just the one change in the starting 11, just looking for a bit of consistency there?
Yeah, for sure. We're never afraid to make changes. We've got really good options. We always look at the rhythm and cohesion of the team, and like I say, it's about a team these days. It's not always about the starting 11.
And you spoke a lot about playing the game, not letting the occasion get to them. Is that something that you've sort of spoken about in the team talk?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these players are sensible. A lot of them have played here previously, so they've got that experience. And again, that's what it will be, just about playing our calm, normal game. And if we can do that better than we've done previously, then we'll be sensational, I'm sure.
And we can take a lot of belief from the Conti Cup final against Chelsea as well, of course.
Of course, yeah, great to have that experience under our belt. But we know today you never get it easy in finals. There's always going to be moments of suffering, like in that game. But again, the character this team has shown over the season has been incredible.
Thank you, Gareth. Best of luck.
Thanks, Caroline.
That is, of course, Gareth Taylor down at Wembley before City women take on Chelsea in the FA Cup final. That is, of course, a 2:30 kick-off today. Now, gents, I want to talk to you as two ex-professionals, obviously, about your weaker foot. So not specifically yours, actually, Kevin De Bruyne's weaker foot, because obviously midweek in that game against Wolves, he got a hat-trick, all with his weaker foot. Can you tell us just how difficult that is, Trev?
Well, to start with, it's an unfair advantage because his left foot is a one-wand anyway, and then when you're scoring a hat-trick with your weaker foot, that's just, yeah, it's too much for one man, isn't it? I mean, I've scored a couple with my left foot, but listen, I think when you see him execute, he's obviously very, very good with both feet, and you get players like that. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is a wonderful player, and the fact that he's so strong with his weaker foot just makes him an even better player and harder to play against.
Yeah. David, what do you think about that? I mean, we're seeing them now with his weaker foot.
Well, first of all, what you've got to appreciate about Kevin De Bruyne's finishes, these what people get lost in quite often when they see people shooting, they interpret the shot differently to a pass.
Okay.
And if you look at all of these goals, effectively what he's done is just passed them in. And the one which he, with pace, left foot inside the post, I think it was the second goal, this one. It's hard, yes, but it's a pass, effectively. So what you're looking at is Kevin De Bruyne, with a lot of strength and quality, is able to pass very well with both feet. There are players in the Premier League, and you'll see them, will not go on one foot, and that is a true definition of a weak foot. But if you've got control over it and it's not just a rash smash, I mean, that's beautiful. But if he'd have done it down the line, it would have been a great pass. And it's just the same, I always say, and forgive me saying this, there's no such thing as a bad shot when you see people missing by miles. It just depends where on the pitch you do it. Just like a bad pass. Kevin De Bruyne passes that down the field, he might lay in Jack Grealish this afternoon to score. And it'll be exactly the same ball, but it's the place on the pitch that he does it. He's just got so much control. There's nothing weak about him. If he'd have scored with a couple with the back of his head, then...
He's never scored with his head. Can you
there you go.
That?
There's his weakness.
we found it.
There it is.
I'm going to out you now, Trev. I'm going to out you.
Oh, dear.
Because we wanted to get you both out there taking shots with your weaker foot before the show, didn't we?
You did.
But you couldn't.
I couldn't, no. I had a little fall at a festival yesterday. So I'm a little bit wounded, so I couldn't join in, which was sad because I would like to have done it with my weaker foot.
Yeah,
and you know what? We're talking about weaker foot.
Hang on, I had
change the subject quickly.
I had my boots and gloves. Well, they're still there. Well, in the car, ready to go.
Because you might have been a keeper, but we definitely could have talked to you about taking shots, because that is a bit of a clue. Do you know what happened 17 years ago on this date?
Wow.
17 years ago on this date. And
did he get in the way?
No. Oh, no.
17 years to the day since you were played up front in that game against
Can I just defend myself here?
No.
Having a weaker foot means that there's an imbalance. One's better than the other. I think when I played out, I was definitely weak on both. I didn't necessarily have a weaker one. They just both weren't really working. Fortunately, it's not video. There's no footage of that.
Because it was so old. We're so old.
17 years ago, yeah. I remember watching it in the crowd, so we're all together on this one. Do you remember that moment?
I remember that moment, yeah. And I think it was John Mackham on the bench.
Yeah, he was.
And I was just wounded.
I think he must have had a hamstring or something.
Yeah, I was quite sad for him.
I'm still looking for the shirt, by the way. I did give it to the Man City Museum.
And it's never come back.
Kind of hasn't. It's not there at the minute.
And it's not in the museum.
No. Oh, maybe they're doing a statue for it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would think you deserve one alongside Aguero. Absolutely.
Just going back, you know, when you
just a shirt, not me in
it. When you see David Silva, a little bit of footage on David Silva there, I did actually feel emotional. He's my favourite player of all time. Manchester City, and he was, what a wonderful area for the football club.
Obviously he's still playing, so he wasn't able to join, so yeah, I mean, I sincerely hope he comes back one day and we get to thank him personally as well. Now we're going to head back down to Wembley, where we do have the Chelsea team news.
Hello, team news is out, and we have just been looking at the Chelsea lineup for today. Caroline, who do you want to pick out to start with?
Well, where do you start? Because the honest answer, I mean, obviously from back to front, it's just absolute quality. But I think it's important that, you know, we remember that we have, you know, that same level of quality. Georgia Stanway said it in midweek. We have to remember that, you know, we're of equal pairing. But I think you probably have to start with Sam Kerr. I mean, what an incredible player. You know, he's lights up the WSL. Yeah. Always a threat. You know she's going to get chances, and 9 times out of 10 she puts them away. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, the defence will be looking at her today. But I mean, it's not just going to be her. You know, there's a lot of attacking threat there, and they're going to have to be on their own game today.
And a couple of other talking points as well. Obviously, Frank Kirby and G on the bench. That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fantastic for women's football that, you know, Frank Kirby's back after the issues that she's had, and, you know, for England ahead of the Euros as well. But yeah, G, you know, what an incredible career she's had. She's been a bit of a nemesis for us over the years, but yeah, hopefully they're not going to come on and cause us too much trouble, but we'll see.
And obviously it's Conti Cup winners against WSL winners. We obviously know them very, very well. How are you feeling about the game as a whole? Now you've seen both teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way, and history's kind of proved that. I think of all the games that I've covered over the years, we played Chelsea the most. So yeah, know each other inside out. You know, we're both in fantastic form. It really is hard to call. I mean, you know, they were 1-0 up in the first half of the Conti Cup final. We came back, but you know, they'll be full of confidence. We'll be full of confidence. I think it's going to be a tight one. It could be the odd goal, to be honest.
Yeah, and players are warming up now, so they're getting ready. We're off to go and find our seats and get ready as well. So back to you guys.
Thank you so much to Abby and to Caroline, who are pitch side there at Wembley ahead of the FA Cup final today. City taking on Chelsea. That is a 2:30 kick-off. Today, of course, the men's team are away at West Ham at the London Stadium, and we do have a phenomenal away record in the Premier League this season. Of course, we got beat by Spurs on the first day of the season, and since then, we've gone unbeaten, gents. Unbeaten away from home. In terms of away games for you, Trev, have you got any kind of memories that stick out? Any grounds you specifically liked going to?
St Mary's. I remember going there with City, actually, and we won there. And I think we stayed down for a few days and we had a bit of bonding.
When you say bonding, do you mean nights out?
It weren't supposed to be a night out, but it ended up being a night out.
I think I went home straight after the game.
Of course you did.
Yeah, no, it was great. Great win. And then I think the second game, maybe it was in London. Was that the 3-3? At 4-3 when we came back from 3-0 down. Yeah, it was a great trip anyway. That's one of my fond memories when I was at Manchester City.
Oh, nice. How about you, David? Any specific grounds you liked or any specific away days that stick out?
In my career, I mean, Tottenham, old White Hart Lane was a fantastic stadium to play at. Fantastic stadium. I think the best win club-wise, and keeping everything in sync, was when at West Ham we went up to Old Trafford and beat 1-0.
Yeah.
Jermaine Defoe, bang. Yeah, and keeping it all in sync, one away day trip to the Etihad, Portsmouth, and we lost 6-0.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
When Jermaine scored that goal, I remember that goal, and as he stood up to celebrate, I ran into him and done him, and literally both of us went flying. But it was I remember that game, it was a great game.
My hair was orange.
Oh, nice.
And so were my eyebrows, because I went a little bit mad.
We definitely need to do a feature on your hair at some point, by the way, because we haven't, of the many styles.
Or we could just chuck it in there with me playing up front as well. That would be, yeah.
Yeah. I think, for me, I think the away days are often so special because of how good our away support is.
Fans are brilliant. Yeah, I mean, the away fans are superb. Travel, they usually fill the end up whatever they get given for the game. And it's a day out, isn't it? I mean, I want to get on a few away days with City fans. I've got a few mates who keep on inviting me. At some stage when I'm not working, please, I'm going to go and get a City away game.
I think you would be very, very welcome on an away day with City fans. Do you fancy going on one, David?
I could do. I do quite a bit of commentary for covering City for the radio. And one of the away games, I'm just trying to think, I'm not sure if it was Wembley or whichever.
That's a normal away game for us anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nowadays.
And there was a City fan on the phone who did a phone in, and then I asked him, because it was during the sort of lockdown period, I asked him for a burger and chips. His name's Dave, so if you're out there, Dave, he still owes me burger and chips. So I'll do the away day. We'll track Dave down.
You hear that? You hear that, Blues?
We could do a film about this.
Invite David James as long as you're going to buy him burger and chips. He'll be there. Right, we're going to go on to who's stat in a minute, but do you guys think you know who it is? Have you worked it out?
I think the numbers are wrong.
OK, the numbers were wrong.
Yeah.
So we're going to do who's stat in a second. And these two, detectives, worked out that when we said Premier League appearances, we actually meant appearances, full stop, the number of games he has played in his career, not just Premier League appearances. If we slightly change that, we're going to get it up now. Do you know who it is then? Are you blaming the clue?
Yeah, the clue was very misleading.
OK, there we go. 609 total appearances in the Premier League. So 38 goals in 187 appearances for the Hammers, over 609 total appearances in the Premier League. Clue 2, which you've already seen, this player played 106 matches for the England national team after making his debut in '99. Right, here's the new one for you. This player is one of 9 players and the only midfielder to have scored 150 or more goals in the Premier League. You must have it now.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I had it from the first clue, but I thought them numbers weren't right, and I've definitely got it now.
That's what threw me, the numbers.
Yeah.
Are you blaming the numbers?
Good excuse, Damo. Good excuse.
And yeah. Am I allowed to let the viewers into a little secret?
Yeah.
Silhouette is a bit of a giveaway.
Hey.
And if you look at that finger and that thumb in the silhouette.
That finger and that thumb?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I never look at the silhouette. I always forget to look at the silhouette.
It's a big clue, isn't it?
Yeah. So let us know if you think you know who it is, if David's clue there has helped you along, or if you've not got it and you're blaming the stats, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I knew it was all the time.
Right, so we are about 10 minutes away now until kick-off. It is the last away game of the season for City. It is the second last game of the season. We know by now that if we get 4 points out of these last 2 games, we will retain our Premier League. Trevor, let's have a look at the starting 11 again. In case anybody has just joined us, you're very, very welcome to Matchday Live. Here is today's starting 11. It is Ederson, Cancelo, Fernandinho, Laporte, Zinchenko, Rodri, Silva, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Grealish and Jesus. So that is 3 changes from the team that started against Wolves. On the bench, it's Stefan, Ake, Sterling, Gundogan, Foden, Egan Riley, Mbete, Palmer and Lavia. Right, have a look at the West Ham team for you as well, which is Fabianski, Kufal, Zuma, Dawson, Cresswell, Rice, Souček, Bowen, Lanzini, Fornals and Antonio. And the subs bench, Areola, Masuaku, Johnson, Fredericks, Kral, Noble, Vlasic, Yarmolenko, Okoflex. That is your subs for West Ham today. So less than 10 minutes away from the kick-off. Trevor, what do you imagine the atmosphere is like amongst the City team? Will there be pressure or will they be relaxed and know what they've got to do?
There's always pressure, and they know how important this game is. They've seen Liverpool stay close to them throughout the season, and they don't want to trip up so late in the day, so they'll be focused. They've got one thing to concentrate on, and that's winning this game against West Ham. The stadium will be bouncing, the fans will be in a good mood. They'll want to see if this West Ham side, that disappointedly in a lot of ways went out the Europa League semi-final, if they can react and actually hang with the big boys. So they'll want a performance, so the atmosphere is going to be great. I'm sure Manchester City have taken loads down there with the fans, and yeah, I'm really excited for this game. What I would say is, you're just looking at their side, they've got a lot of aerial threat. Don't give cheap free kicks.
West Ham?
Yeah. Don't give free...
I'm going to relax here because we did a stat on the Wolves game that I remember. We've got the best record of goals from set pieces, so we've only conceded 1 in the whole season.
That's amazing, and we need to continue to do that, because this will be a challenge, because West Ham are one of the best teams in the Premier League at scoring from set pieces. Cresswell with delivery. You know the aerial threat you've got. You've got Dawson, who throws himself in front of a bus. You've got Zuma, you've got Souček. They've got a lot of aerial threat, so this will be a challenge. And we've got Fernandinho playing at centre-half, so they'll feel that they can get the upper hand from set pieces. We must make sure we don't give cheap free kicks away around the box or corners if we can.
So we know that we are going for, of course, to retain our Premier League title day with 2 games to go. But, of course, West Ham are still pushing to get back into that Europa League that they did so well in this season. Yeah,
and in answer to the sort of the early question, will there be pressure? I actually think that it's West Ham's last game of the season. Yes, the pitch and what they need to do puts a bit of pressure on, but there's a bit of a carnival atmosphere going on because Mark Noble is going to be saying farewell as a player at West Ham. The fact that he's doing his group photos, all those little bits can put you out of sync with regards to West Ham. And if the fans are there to create a celebration, then Man City will be there to upset a celebration, which actually, in a way, goes in Man City's favour because they're going to be focused to come what may. So it'll be interesting to see how things start. Both teams have to play, and if I've got split loyalties, I want both teams to achieve it. But I know that won't help anybody in either argument if it's shared spoils here. But I think it'll be a tight affair, similar to Wembley. Good luck to the girls. But yeah, I think, like Trev says, focus Man City, win.
So, without giving us your score prediction yet, as my throat starts to go. Wow. How do you think the game's going to go?
I think the way that City have responded since what went on, since the Real Madrid game, I think that they were so unbelievable reaction from the players, and I think we'll see more of that today. And they'll want to get this 3 points in the bag, so there's not too much pressure in the last game of the season.
Yeah, sorry, no, I didn't mean to get so emotional there. I think City win the game. I just don't think it will. I'm hoping, with regards to trying to break Premier League records and stuff, they can do something sensational in that sense. But I just think it will be a bit of a sticky game because there's a lot going on for both sides. But I just see the win. I'm just thinking about Edison, Golden Gloves.
So you want a 2-0?
A win will do.
1-0.
Any win will do, but I just want Edison to keep challenging for those Golden Gloves. Top 2 goalkeepers,
So a win, but with a clean sheet is your ideal?
Yes.
OK, give me so 2-0?
He said 2-0. I'll go 1-0. I think this will be tight.
OK, I'm taking any win. Any win will do. Yeah. So if you haven't already, you need to download the Manchester City app where you will get the best commentary available for this game with Alistair Mann and Michael Brown as well. We will be back at half-time to tell you who's stats and to discuss, hopefully, some Manchester City goals. Over to you, Alistair.
As Mark Noble enters the field of play, and he starts to milk in the applause. He's not actually starting today, but this is his final home appearance after 18 seasons as a West Ham player. And you just wonder whether the emotion of the occasion and the fact that there are so many commemorative bits and pieces